Hello everyone, this is Professor Hill. This is a short video for our class, Introduction to Ethics Philosophy 2306 here at St. Philip's College for the Maymester 2019. It's Wednesday, the 29th of May. And you know what that means? That means we have an assignment due tonight. That's right, this is assignment number 3. So you want to write your discussion contribution, your little mini essay on the student's cartoon. That's due tonight. Just before midnight, 11:59 tonight. So here's the thing. I want to spend a little time talking about it because it's an interesting case study and it gets us involved in this question about intentionality. Because as you've seen from looking at the case study, this is a student who is doodling in class while the professor drones on about something. And in it, he makes this little kind of violent cartoon where he's seen shooting the professor. And then what happens is he takes the cartoon at the end of class and he wads it up, throws it away, throws it in the garbage can. But some other student who was sitting behind him and could see over his shoulder and saw what he was drawing, got concerned about this, pulled it out of the trash can, gave it to the professor, and said, "Hey, listen, I think you really ought to see this." Now, what's interesting about that is the professor, of course, gets upset, goes to the dean. The dean calls in the original student and says, "Hey man, did you make this?" And the student's like, "Oh my gosh, where did you get that?" And he says, "Well, what the point is, did you make it?" He's like, "Yes, I did make that. But I would never have given that to the professor or to you or to anybody because I was just doodling in class, for crying out loud. Give me some slack here. I threw it away." Well, it's an interesting story because the dean believes the student. The student doesn't have a history of, violence or any problems at all. Has been a very good student the whole time. And so the dean's got to decide, well, what does this mean? What does it mean? Because the one time you got the student who's saying it doesn't mean anything, I was just doodling and I threw it away. And you got the professor who's saying, "Oh my God, I've been threatened. The threat is right here in your hand. You got to do something about this." And of course, the dean, it gets kind of in a jam. Now, what's interesting to me is about how this case actually plays out in real life, because this is a true story. And here's the thing, which is your contributions are due tonight at midnight. I think you got to balance a couple of different things. You got to first of all decide, is this a threat to the professor or is it not? What does it mean that he didn't deliver it and somebody else did? What do you think would be an appropriate action, if any, against the student? And then again, also, what happens if there's like a zero tolerance policy at a school? Does this violate it or not? Because we're having this question about, is it even a threat? So if it is, then the zero tolerance policy means you're out. But if it's not even a threat, that means it doesn't apply. And the student just keeps on going to class, no big deal. So again, we have stuff about the intention. We have stuff about the consequences. We got a lot to kind of unpack here in terms of answering the specific questions about this case study. Now, like I said, I think it has a fascinating ending in terms of what really happened. And hey, you know what? Tomorrow, I will give you the answer to what happened. But I do want you to write your essays first, and tomorrow I'll tell you the outcome. That being said, make sure to do a couple things. The one problem we're still having, people sorted out the, make my contribution first and then do at least 2 of your classmates, respond to at least 2 of them. People seem to have that under control. But the biggest problem we're still having is people who are not incorporating information from the chapter. I don't want you to just read this and then respond, blah. You can do that anytime. What I want you to do is think about this and write an essay incorporating the concepts from the chapter and saying, in light of what I've just finished reading, in light of these concepts we're talking about, I think this. So bring them in, bring them over. Some people have done a really good job of that. Some people are still missing the boat. So you want to make sure you don't want to lose points because you're not incorporating the concepts, the terms, the ideas from the chapter into your response. You need to do that. So anyway, that's the lesson for the day, which is, hey, assignment due tonight at midnight. So get on it. But again, make sure you've had a chance to read chapter 4, think about those ideas. Like I said, we're getting introduced to consequentialism and non-consequentialism. We want to think about what that means. And in this case, what are the consequences? And is that a good way to back up and determine what's the right thing to do? Is it good or bad, right or wrong, what this student has done? Is there a threat or not? So think about it. Take care. Bye-bye.